What is up, my dashing dudes? I am the Hans TV, and I hope that y'all are ready to deal with some stupidity, because guess what? It's time to go back into r/Stories About Kevin. So sit back, buckle up, and get ready because we're about to go on a trip. Our first post for the day comes from Quirogiz. Have to get this Kevin out of my chest. I hope a Kevin is not in your chest. Sorry for any English mistakes. I just need to vent about the most frustrating person I've ever met, and I'm still learning. So, about a year ago, I started college. Oh no! And I have to admit, I thought there would be more people from small towns struggling with moving to a big city like I was. So, as soon as I discovered that one of the girls from my class was from another state, I quickly tried to talk to her. I figured that it was probably hard for both of us, and therefore, we could bond about the differences we've been seeing and discuss how we miss home. Here are some of the things the worst Kevin I have ever met said in the 6 months we studied together. 1. She honestly didn't know that drugs were addictive. She truly believed that being addicted to something was a figure of speech, not a real thing. 2. She asked me the difference between egg white and egg yolk. 3. She didn't know people could have learning disabilities. 4. She thought "I feel like sleeping right now" was a genuine good excuse to not show up at a group project presentation. 5. We had to explain to her the concept of north and south, since she somehow didn't know. It's an essential concept to be an architect, which is what we are studying to become. 6. She thought zodiac signs were scientifically proven to be real and accurate. In my head right now, there's just that gif of Plankton where he's just like bent over and going and the veins are popping out of his head. Our next post comes from City Block 999. My friend's friend's brother is a Kevin. So my friend told me this story when I was at school. Here's how it goes. It started when Kevin's brother introduced Kevin to BitLife. He got extremely addicted to the game. In one of his characters, he was taking a driving test and he saw a stop sign. He was asked the question, does the sign mean stop, go, or stop sign crossing? He answered the question with go. He had to be explained by his parents on how stop signs work. Okay, so I'm gonna give this guy some leeway because maybe he's not old enough to understand stop signs, or maybe he just had a lapse of judgment in a moment. Like, you gotta give him some leeway there. Our next post comes from I'm a human trash can. Same though. Kevin was the black sheep of his family. There was this guy that I hung around with when I was in high school. That was a Kevin. Some things that he did was, he wore shoes without shoelaces because he didn't know how to tie shoelaces. We were in high school and the whole time he was there, he didn't wear shoes with shoelaces. His mom would buy him shoes, but he would take the laces off. He couldn't hold a knife or fork, so he only used his hands to eat. Watch him eat pasta was messy. He used hand soap to wash his hair. He had brown hair, but it looked white and oily. He thought that shampoo and conditioner were the same as soap. He saw a guy at the train station that didn't have an arm. He, Kevin, went up to the guy and asked him when his arm was going to grow back. He, Kevin, was dead serious. He thought body parts were like hair and it would grow back. He was 16 when this happened. He left the wrappers on food and ate it because he thought it was the part that was the most nourishing. His parents and his younger sister were really smart, both in education and socially. His parents said that they had him tested multiple times, but there was nothing wrong with him. He was just stupid. His parents' words, not mine. Guys, I don't know how many more of these stories about Kevin that I can do. I am literally losing intelligence as we read these. Our next post comes from Aloy is my co-pilot. Covina doesn't understand body temperature. So, this happened a few years back. I apply for a new job, which requires a drug test for all new employees. The company is relatively small and handles all of their drug testing in-house using dipsticks. There is little to no supervision or protocols when you take the drug test. They literally hand you a cup and ask you to go into one of the bathroom stalls. Is not even a single stall bathroom. Have you pee in a cup and then hand them the cup. They dip it right in front of you and then you are done. Easy, right? So Covina comes out and hands her cup of urine to the supervisor, who then proceeds to test it. Supervisor looks up at Covina and shows her the dipstick. Then this glorious conversation takes place. Supervisor, so you want to try again? Covina, confused, no, you have my urine right there. Supervisor, oh, so you're dead then. Covina, more confused, huh? Supervisor, look, the urine you gave me was about 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Either you are lying or you are dead, and since you don't look or sound like a corpse, I'm going to assume that it is not your urine. Covina, it is my urine. I am cold-blooded. That's all. Supervisor chuckling, are you trying to tell me that your natural body temperature is around 58 degrees? Covina, well, I never checked it, but yeah, when I am nervous, it's something around there. Needless to say, Covina was sent home immediately and told not to come back. Have mercy on me with these stories about Kevin. I don't know how much more I can take. Our next post comes from Ghost Hoarder. Kevin's opinion on The Lion King. So, I work at a movie theater, and we have a Kevin. We were all hanging behind the counter during a quiet few minutes before the next showing, and Kevin walks by. My coworker calls out to him, "Hey, Kevin, what did you think about the Lion King remake?" Kevin gives 2 thumbs up and says, "I think it was better than the original." I speak up, "What makes you say that? It's kind of the exact same movie." I'm genuinely curious about his reasoning. He just grins and says, "In fact, I think that the original movie is worse than the original," and walks off. What? Our final post for the day comes from Dread Heathen. Kevin can't run a business. I am going to excuse the fact that you spelled Kevin wrong, because I can't tell if it's out of sheer stupidity or out of irony. Hopefully it's the latter. I used to work at a small business ran by a Kevin. Kevin really doesn't know what he's doing. These are some moments that I think qualify as Kevin moments. He keeps buying drinks. For example, he brought back 5 different brands of iced coffee once, all wee different prices and varying in ingredients. I think 1 or 2 of them sold whole, the rest sat there for ages. It's even to the point where we carried a dozen different brands of water, different sizes and different prices. He started putting drinks in coolers that other businesses paid him to use in terms of advertisement. They didn't like it when they saw that. Around fall, we'd make caramel apples using a few apple varieties we sold. Homemade caramel, hand-dipped, all that good stuff. Sold them for $2 because we made them there. Kevin comes back with Affy-Tapples one day. We sell them super cheap, like $1. The caramel is gross and the apples are too. People still buy the cheap ones. The homemade ones essentially become useless and are trashed. He brought in caramel apple kits one year. Good idea, except they were pumpkin spice. Gross. All the other ones had been sold out apparently. We only sold 2 out of what he brought in. A lot. We wound up using it, making caramel apples all year round at his request. No one bought them because pumpkin spice, and rarely does anyone buy caramel apples outside of fall time. Kevin keeps moving everything. The tomatoes will not be in the same place as they were yesterday. Regular customers were annoyed, as were employees, and commented on it directly to him. Instead of listening to direct critique from customers, he keeps doing what he's doing. Sometimes he'll ask you to do something but won't tell you how he wants it done, so you do it how you would. He comes in and completely redoes it. He never paid one of the suppliers. Why? Because his dad ran it. Pretty sure I know how he somehow manages to keep the store running. He'll hire someone after 1 interview, like he completely disregards everything else and just hires someone. He brought on a very old friend of his. She has no idea what she's doing and can't handle a simple retail job. I wouldn't classify her as a Covina, but she's another story for a different day. Well, alright my dashing dudes, that is going to do it for today's episode of r/Stories About Kevin. I hope you all enjoyed how I narrated the stories. If you did, go ahead and leave a sub, a like, and a comment down below with what you'd like to see me read next. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed in the past few weeks. It's really humbling and it honors me a lot to see that y'all are supporting my work. The stories will be linked in the description as always, but with that being said, I will see you in the next video.